very, very low number of sales on the Big Island, but closed sales, just like the Big Island and somewhat on Kauai, way down. A huge reduction in the amount of sales activity that's happening. Very, very slow on the island of Maui for number of sales. And then on closed sales, just like the other islands, drop off. Hey, what's happening, friends? State of Hawaii market update time. We're going to look at the data from every single island. We've been seeing a slowdown in the number of sales across the board, but no slowdown in the sales price. So we'll take another look at that on every single island and see what's going on for the month of September, as now we have all of the data collected and closed out. And so as we always do, let's jump into the data right here. This is the Big Island. And so on the Big Island, same thing we've been talking about, active listings continue to rise slightly. We're at almost 2,200 active listings, but still very low in terms of historical averages. And number of properties under contract is 700. The big headline for the Big Island is if we look at the monthly charts here and we look at the number of sales that are happening, we saw a huge drop off in the month of September. And so we were kind of seeing things go up and down. In April of this year, sales kind of peaked out at 437. And then it kind of started to decline again. And if we look at 289 sales total, very, very low. We've always seen almost every single month sales are above 350. And historically, it's closer to 400, 450 in a normal market. And so very, very slow market, as we've been talking about across the board. The interest rates continue to affect that. I think the election is a very big factor in this, as people are just kind of waiting, seeing what happens. There's a lot of turmoil, a lot of stuff in the media. And so very, very low number of sales on the Big Island. And so let's see how that is translated into on all the rest of the islands. And so next we're going to go over to Kauai. Same thing, 400 is about what we're seeing active listings wise. Last month, the median price is $1 million, which is up from the low 900s a year ago. So median price continues to go up. But if we look at the number of sales that are happening, same thing on Kauai, we saw that dip off. It wasn't as dramatic, and on Kauai, there's not as many sales, so it's always less than 100, but we saw it peak out at 78 back in May, and then it dropped back off to 58, and we were kind of coming back up, but we were at 64 in the month of September. So still kind of on average where it normally is, but definitely lower than it was earlier in the year. So Kauai is also seeing the same slowdown in the number of sales, but median price, if you compare it to last year, is up. Let's go to Maui next. So on Maui, if we look at the overall sales price, it does go up and down month to month, but if you look at the trend line going up, it's steadily been rising. It was $1,175,000 in September. It was a little bit higher, $1,300,000 back in August. But if you take the trend line all the way across and you smooth it out, it's definitely continuing to rise. And if you look at it a year ago, it was $900,000. So definitely higher than it was a year ago, and prices continue to rise. But closed sales, just like the Big Island and somewhat on Kauai, way down. So we only had 103 closed sales on Maui this past month, and it was 131 the month prior, and it was kind of steady around there, but it peaked out earlier in the year in April at 180. So lots of a huge reduction in the amount of sales activity that's happening, almost half the number of sales that happened earlier in the year. So very, very slow on the island of Maui for number of sales. And then let's look at Oahu. So on Oahu, same thing with the median price continuing to go up. If you look at the trend line, median price is $750. This takes into account homes and condominiums. So the single family home market is going to be higher, but that's the average between the single family home and condo market, but still a steady increase. If you look back a year ago, it was back under 700,000, so 670. We're looking at a median sales price now of 750. And then on closed sales, just like the other islands, dropped off in September. We saw it peak back in May at 772, but in the month of September, there was only 614 sales. So it did dip lower back in January of this year, just under 500, but in general, pretty low number of sales. We thought we were seeing the market kind of recover in the early summer and the spring, and now it's slowed back down. So overall, like I said earlier, I think the election has a lot to do with this. People are sitting on their hands. They're not making big purchases. They're not doing anything dramatic, kind of waiting to see what happens after November. I would expect that these numbers will pick up after November. And as always, the Hawaii buying season is busier in the wintertime because the weather is always good here. So the good news here is if you are a buyer, you have more opportunity than you've had in a very, very long time. And so now is the time, if you're looking to get into the market, you're pre-qualified, you're ready to go. The best time to buy a home is when you're ready and you need a home. There is no timing the market. The market does crazy stuff. No one ever could have predicted what happened after COVID. And definitely no one could have predicted where it's at today after the rise in interest rates and all of the other national economic things that are going on. So if you have any questions specifically about an area of the island that you're looking in, we can help you statewide. We have agents all across the state. And if you want to do a consultation, you can book a meeting with a link in the description below. But this is your October market update. Look forward to seeing you guys with next month's market update. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. Aloha.